What is going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Living Freed channel. My name is Tyler Freed, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I believe the trucking industry is in a recession. And some of you that are watching this video are going to be like, well, duh, we've been in a recession for a long time. Well, if you're a independent, like a small trucking fleet owner, like a small fleet owner, owner-operator, whatever, you're going to say, yeah, we've been in a recession for over a year now. Things have sucked. Well, I would agree with you. They have been bad. But I'm going to specifically talk about not just the small trucking companies experiencing a recession, but also the large companies experiencing recession. 100%. I believe we're entering a massive recession. I really do believe that. I hope I'm wrong, because that affects me and that affects all the people that I know in trucking and all the truck drivers that are out there. Now, luckily, as truck drivers, we are essential. Even if freight slows down, there's always going to be freight to move. People are still going to buy food. People are going to still buy clothes. People are going to still buy things for the house, like essential items. And luckily, I work at a company. I work at Crete Carrier that hauls essential items. Most of their customers are all essential things that we need to survive and live our day-to-day lives. They're not really luxury items. And generally in a recession, that's usually what slows down first, is luxury items. But even the essential stuff, even at a big company like Crete Carrier where I work, I've noticed a slowdown. Over the last month and a half, I've noticed that it is a lot harder to get loads. Now, my miles are still decent. I'm still averaging over 2,500 miles a week. I have some weeks where I still hit 3,000 miles, but it's a little lower than my norm. Normally, I'm running about 12 to 13,000 miles a month. That's what I was used to running really most of my trucking career. I was used to running that. And I was running that at Crete 100%. I was averaging like 3,200 miles a week. If you added up all my miles for a month and then divided it by 4 weeks, my average was like 3,200 miles a week. And that was for my first 7 months working at Crete. I started in July, and all the way through about February, that was my average. I keep track of all my miles, so I know what I'm running. I keep track of my miles myself, and I know my averages. Well, that average has kind of dropped. It's definitely dropped over the last like month and a half. Now, granted, I did take time off because my son was in the hospital, and that was a tough situation. I actually missed a week, but I usually go by like the weeks that I'm out. So I add up all the miles for the weeks that I'm out and divide it by however many weeks I'm actually out running, not including my home time. But and usually that is over 3,000 miles a week. Well, the last month and a half, it hasn't been. It's been decent. I mean, I'm still making pretty decent money, good money. And I'm not going to complain, because there's a lot of people in other industries that are losing their jobs. There's a lot of companies right now laying off corporate workers, and it really sucks. I really think that we are entering a recession. Definitely the trucking industry is in a recession, because not only is the spot market really bad, rates are way down, fuel costs are still really high. Yeah, fuel costs have come down, but not enough to really make much of a difference, especially for small independent owner-operators, small companies, and even big companies. Don't be surprised if big companies that you know about go under. Don't be surprised. I'm very fortunate that I work here at Crete, because Crete is a debt-free company. I would be very nervous about working for a company right now that is highly leveraged. And if they're a private company, it's going to be hard to find out whether the company you work for is highly leveraged. If they're a publicly traded company, you can figure out whether you're working for a company that is highly leveraged. And I'm happy to know that Crete Carrier is a debt-free company, like I said. But even here, hauling essential freight, all contract freight, they don't even have a brokerage at Crete. They don't haul brokered freight, no load boards, nothing. Even their contract stuff, it's still tough for them to string together loads. It is. Man, at Crete here, for the first 7 months, I was pre-planned on every load. Now, I still get pre-planned, but it's just not every load anymore. It's not as abundant anymore. And there has been a few days where I have sat for a couple hours waiting for them to find a load. They've had to deadhead me a couple hundred miles out of a certain area over to another area just to get a load, just to keep me moving. And normally that was never the case, Normally that was never the case. That wasn't even really the case at Millis. When I worked at Millis Transfer, it wasn't even the case then. Now freight's always been seasonal. Like Millis, they were a smaller company. Crete has like 5,700 drivers. Millis had like 900. And with Millis, it was seasonal. There was like slow spells, but you always knew like, okay, after Christmas, it'll slow down for maybe like a month and a half, and then it'll pick back up, right? But I never had the problem of, my dispatcher telling me, man, freight's just bad, and I finally called my dispatcher today. I've been meaning to talk to him, but I was out for a week because my son was in the hospital, like I said. And, but I wanted to ask him, I wanted to be like, hey man, I'm not like blaming you for the inefficiency or for freight slowing down. I just want to know, like, is it really that bad? Is freight really that bad? And he told me, he's like, yeah, it is that bad. He's like, it's the worst I've seen it in 15 years, which would go back pretty much to the Great Recession. In 15 years, it's the worst he's seen it. And that's contract freight at a mega carrier. I mean, pretty much every truck driver that's been doing this for a year, who Crete Carrier is. You know who they are. And you know that these other trucking companies, they're experiencing this too. I think they're going to make it through 100%. I'm still making good money. I'm not saying I'm not. But I definitely believe, I think the smaller companies, the mid-sized companies, they got hit a lot sooner than Crete is getting hit. Because I still talk to some drivers, or I did talk to some drivers that worked at Millis, and it was definitely slowing down at Millis. But Crete is finally starting to experience this slowdown. And I do think in the summer it's going to pick back up. That's my belief. Could be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong about that. Usually demand picks back up in the summer, and so the miles should be pretty good. And the efficiency of, getting pre-planned and all that should be pretty good. If you're anybody, though, that's at a trucking company and you're frustrated, man, just understand, at least we have a job. I'm grateful I have a job. I'm grateful that I'm still able to carve out a good living working in trucking. I'm glad I'm in trucking. I'm glad I'm a truck driver. And again, I told you what I'm doing about this situation, because there's nothing I can do to really change the situation. I just have to work. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But I'm still able to make good money. Just take whatever loads you can get. That's all I can say. Take whatever loads that you can get. Run hard. Do what you're supposed to do. Communicate with your dispatcher. Also, if you're deeply in debt, this is a time to focus on paying off all your debt. Getting completely out of debt. For those of you that watch my channel, you know what I'm about to say. It never changes, but I put this in every video because I truly believe that if I wasn't set up the way I'm about to talk about, I would be very nervous about what's coming, really. And that is being completely debt-free, completely out of consumer debt. I'm not against a mortgage or anything like that, but consumer debt, like student loans, car payments, credit cards, high interest debt, pay it all off, and then have a 6-month emergency fund. This is 6 months of cash in a savings account. You could put it in a high yield savings account, whatever. Cash money, liquid cash, 6 months at least worth of expenses saved up, out of debt, have that emergency fund, and then you can start investing beyond that. But at least have those two things. If you don't have those two things, in my opinion, I wouldn't worry about starting a business. I wouldn't worry about investing. I would be doing that, because if you have that in place, if you lay that foundation, then you can weather just about any storm, right? Let's say you get laid off and you have a 6-month emergency fund. Well, you have time to find a different job. If your company goes under, same thing. It's just always be prepared. Hopefully, it's just slow right now. It's been slow this year, really. It has been slow. Hopefully it picks back up. It sucks to see so many small businesses go under in the trucking industry. It sucks to see that. It's absolutely terrible. Small business is what makes America great. And, I don't want to see that. But I also don't want to see people quit because they can't afford to do trucking anymore, because trucking is great if you do what I'm talking about. You know, you maximize your time out here. Number one, manage your time, communicate, yada, yada, yada. Use this to get out of debt, have an emergency fund, and invest in assets. But the first two things, out of debt and an emergency fund, that's the foundation. That's going to get you through things like I'm talking about. And so anyway, I didn't mean to ramble on, but I just wanted to kind of like vent a little bit. Just vent a little bit. This is what I'm thinking. I do believe we've been in a recession for a while in the trucking industry. And I think even the bigger companies are starting to get hit with this. Hopefully things improve. You know, I'm still making it, guys. It's not, you know, I still recommend trucking because, look, if trucking goes, the country goes, okay? Because we move everything in this country. We literally move every item you can think of. Every item. It's slowing down because of high inflation, rate hikes, which is killing demand. That's why the economy has slowed down so much. High fuel prices, and hopefully things improve. I don't know if they will anytime soon. I think in the long run we'll be fine, but anytime soon, I don't know. So let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Do you think I'm I'm just, you know, being paranoid or what? But you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, this country's been through many recessions. We've been through a Great Depression, many recessions. I think we'll get through this. I really do believe that. We'll get through it, especially us truck drivers that are hustlers. Man, I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep doing what I got to do every day to support my family and invest towards my dreams. So I hope you guys continue to do the same thing. I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching my channel that are already subscribed. I appreciate each and every one of you that are new. Please subscribe, like the video, follow me on Instagram. The link to that is in the description below. God bless and peace out.